Hello and welcome to today's Bitrix24 webinar, Sell More with Science. Thank you for joining today. Okay, so who are we? We are Bitrix24 Gold Partners Interface. We're based in the UK, in the US and Hong Kong. And we offer a full range of services, starting off with pre-sale support, so we can help answer any questions that you may have about the Bitrix24 system. If you decide Bitrix is a good solution, we can set up the system and implement your specific requirements. If you're interested in a self-hosted edition, we offer our own hosting services, and we can provide you with bespoke training and ongoing dedicated support to really help you get the most out of Bitrix. And if you're new to Bitrix24 and you've come to today's session to understand more about the system, it is a collaboration suite of well in excess now of 35 different tools that you can use to help you to manage your business. There are over 9 million customers now that use Bitrix around the world to manage their requirements. And the system is available in two different editions. We have the cloud and the self-hosted system. And prices start from $49 for a cloud-based edition and $2,990 for a lifetime self-hosted license. Okay, so today's webinar is Sell More with Sites. So specifically today, we're going to be looking at the Sites module, which allows you to create your own landing pages, which is very useful if you're creating marketing campaigns and you want to send people to specific landing pages. So why, first of all, should you use the Sites module within Bitrix24? So first of all, the real benefit is that you can use your own domain. So that's really useful. You can have your own domain and apply that to your sites. There is no designing or coding skills required, so that's really useful. We'll see how simple it is to use the Sites module. It uses drag and drop technology, so I think that's really important. It is very simple to use. It can integrate with lots of different tools within Bitrix, so you can integrate this with some of the website forms and live chat features, so we'll see how all of those can integrate together. You've got responsive and mobile-friendly testing, so it's very easy to test your sites throughout the system as you're designing them. And we can integrate with Google Analytics, so you can set up SEO meta tags to make sure your sites are set up correctly for your Google search engines. Okay, so first of all today we're going to look at how we can actually set up a site in Bitrix24. So let's go to our Bitrix system. So the area you want to go to be able to build your sites, well, this is in the Sites module. So you can see here we have the Sites area. So what we want to do is go into that Sites module first of all. Okay, and we've opened up the site area. This will show you any sites that you currently have set up, so you can see all of those in the system here. But let's go and create a brand new site in the system. Okay, so we've just opened up our sites area. And the really useful thing with Bitrix offers a wide range of pre-configured designs for you to choose from. So you've got a range of industries here that you can see. And some great examples here. So we can see Black Friday, so that's coming up in a few weeks. So we have very seasonal specific sites as well that you can use in the system. So that could be really useful if you're maybe sending out marketing campaigns. You can be up to date with the correct season in the system. So from here, let's select that campaign and we can then choose a default color for the theme of the page. And let's create that new site. And to begin with, that is it. You have now initially created the framework for your site inside the Bitrix system. So it is very simple to set up that site. And now we've done that, we've chosen the correct site that we want to use. We can now start to configure the actual settings within your site. So First of all, what we should do is configure the essential settings, what we will call the essential settings for your site. So first of all, what we do here is we go into the top menu, and if we click on settings, and first let's go and have a look at the site settings first of all. That's where we should go to begin with. Okay, so that will open up your site page inside the system. And first of all, what we can see here is you can select and use your own domain. So we mentioned this is a benefit of using the sites module in Bitrix. So we could use that in our own domain. So we could click on here, set up our own domain within the system. So we just add our domain into here. But to begin with, what we would recommend, you can see Bitrix has registered and given us our very own domain there. We would just recommend you continue using that for the time being as you're continuing to set up your site. So once you have built out your site, you've created the correct design, and you're happy to go live, really only at that point would you then actually apply your own domain onto the site settings. Okay. So and once we've done that, we can also, we're going to have a look at this later on. You can add your own widgets into your site, such as website forms and live chats. So we could select those from what we have already created in our Bitrix24 CRM system. You could go into there. And further down here, we have some more settings. So there are quite a few different settings that you can go through. Well, for example, if you might want to change the actual template style, or what we could also do is you can maybe change the CSS. So you can configure this to really be tailored to how you want to display information inside the system. And of course, we can also integrate with analytics. So this is useful if you want to add your Google Analytics. We can then simply enter our UA code and integrate with our Google Analytics to have analysis sent to our Google Analytics system. Okay, so those are the site settings, but really as soon as you have completed your site settings, then we should go to the individual page settings. So because you can build multi-page websites, you can apply different settings to different individual pages that you build in Bitrix. So this is really essential for your website SEO configuration. So if we go back into settings, but this time, let's go into the page settings. Okay, and so within here, we can choose the page address, and further down here, what really is important to see here is how we can edit our meta tags. So we can make sure this is optimized for Google, as an example, or your search engine. So we can configure this so it is set up as optimized as possible. So especially for Black Friday, if you're going to be creating some pages, you really want to make sure you're ranked as high as possible when you're creating those pages. So you can then set up and make sure your descriptions and you can see further down here your keywords, make sure everything is set up correctly for that page in the system. And you can see just the user interface, it's very simple in terms of the layout and the structure for setting in your settings. So it is a very simple interface to use, and I think that's a real benefit of using the Bitrix sites module. Okay, so once we've done the page settings, then we can actually go through and start to customize what information we're actually displaying in the design itself. So the way Bitrix uses our site section here is via blocks. So you can see here we've got a block, so maybe we want to add some more information or detail into this page. So I could add a new block into this section. So what I want to do here, for example, I'm going to add a new image. So within here, you can see on the left-hand side here, you've got lots of different types of block that you can add into the system. So it could be you maybe add a video, for example, or if I want to add an image, then I could add a block of images into here. So this then allows you to customize exactly the style of block that you add into the system. So I just want to add one image into here. So that's now added that block into here. And once I'm on that block, I can then actually configure the design of that specific block. So I could edit the styling of this, for example, or maybe actually I want to edit the actual image. So I could go into that block settings and I could edit the image inside the system. So I could upload my own image if I have my own images, or you could also use Unsplash, which is a document library of images that you can select from. So within here I could then select my image from Unsplash, and that would then add into my site itself. Okay, so let's just go back into that. Okay, so we've got there, and I say we've got our image. So that's how you can design your website. So you add different blocks into the system. You can change the layout. So maybe I want to actually add the upcoming event area. I'm going to add that above the image. So you can see how simple it is. It's drag and drop technology to customize your site. So it's really simple to set up. So you can see there using the blocks, we can add content, and that then offers you the ability to change what display you have on your site. And as we mentioned, Bitrix allows you to set up either individual landing pages, or you can set up multi-page sites as well. So if I just show you, for example, some of the different types. So here we have a landing page. So this is really useful, say if you have a one-off marketing campaign. If you're wanting to collect data, this is ideal for you. So you could create a site on Bitrix. So here we have one to enter to win a free cake for you and your work team. So it's a bit of a competition. And within here we've integrated some of the CRM elements. So for example, we have a web form set up, and we've also got a live chat system. So if we maybe had some questions, I could go to one of the team here. Okay, so I could then send that message, and that will go to a user within the Bitrix24 system to answer. So it allows you to collaborate with people very quickly, and if we submitted our information on this form, that could, for example, automatically create a brand new inquiry in your CRM system. So it could create a brand new lead inside the system. And another type of site we've got here is, so here we've got another page, but you could have multi-page sites. So if we go to the inquiry section, that can open up a brand new page. So you can create multi-page sites within the site module itself. So it's really useful, gives you an idea of the different style of sites you could create, and also how you can then interact this with the CRM system. So just like here on our inquiry page, we've got a website form, we've got some live chat features. So this allows us to interact so we can hopefully engage with our potential customers and close a new sale with them. So this hopefully just shows you how the sites area links with other areas of our Bitrix24 system. Okay, so that's a look at the different styles of sites. Now one thing you can do is, once you've designed your site, you can do testing, so we can see how this looks on different types of devices. So we can see here how this looks on a tablet, if we can see how that looks on the desktop, and also on a mobile device as well. So you can see how that looks across different devices, how it's going to look for your customers inside the system. Okay, and once you've done that, once you're happy with how that looks and displays, you've added all of your content into here, you can then preview what your site looks like. So we can see how this looks and feels. We've got our live chat system added onto here. And once you're happy with your site, you can then publish it. And as we mentioned, once you have got to this stage, then it's really at this point that you can then add your own domain onto the site. So you go through those steps, and then your site is ready for publishing. And that's really how difficult it is to create a site. It is not difficult at all. It is very simple using the site menu to create your site inside the system. Now, if you do have any questions about this, please do add them into the chat box on our YouTube channel, and we'll go through these questions at the separate blocks of the webinar today. Okay, so those are the steps to create your site in Bitrix. Okay, so we've had a question, can I add my own HTML to the site? So yes, absolutely yes you can. So if you just go back into the block section, so say if we were to add a new block into the system, then one of the types of blocks we can do is if we go to other, you've got the HTML block here. So from here you can then add your HTML code into that particular block, and you can then design the style and how that looks inside the system. Okay, if there are any other questions, please do add them into the question box, and we'll run through those at the separate sections of the webinar today. Okay, so moving on now, almost the next step. So we've seen how we can create our own landing pages in Bitrix24. But now Bitrix is taking this really to a next level. So what you can also do is you can create your own online stores for actually not just, I guess, having people come to your site, but you can now also take payments and process orders through the system as well. So let's have a look now at how we can create sites inside our system. Okay, so rather than going into the sites area here, what we actually want to do is we go into our online store. So we can go into here and see the online store section, and this then allows us to create our very own online store directly inside our Bitrix24 system. So if we go into here, for example, then let's have a look at this particular site. Okay, so we can see here, it uses exactly the same type of technology. So you've got the block structure format, you have the ability to create your own pages on the site as well. And what we can then do, if we just start to scroll down on this page, the key difference in the online store is that you can add products and different attributes on the products itself. So you can see here, we have a selection of shoes, and here we could select from different sizes, and we could pick a quantity, and that then adds a total for our purchase. So you can see here how easy it can be to actually start to build out not just your sites, but actually build your own e-commerce store directly through the Bitrix24 system. So we've got those products available on our sites, and you can add as many products into here as you require. So that's it, we can have our store in the system. And in terms of how you actually start to create that store, again, you could go into here and you can then create your pages using the drag and drop technology that we saw as we were creating our sites on Bitrix. So you can have different templates that you can begin to use. And once you've set up your kind of the initial site for your online store, then what you want to do is start adding all of your products. So if we go back into the online store, you can see here we have a product catalog. And this is where we add all of our products that we can then associate in our online store. And for each one of these, we can then add all of the different attributes for that particular product. So we can add a preview and descriptions, we can add SEO and meta titles to all of our products inside the system. And once we've done this, we can then go into settings and set up our payment systems. So what you can then do from here is set up the payment providers that you want to integrate into your Bitrix system. So we can see here we have Stripe integrated. PayPal is another standard payment provider that you can integrate into the Bitrix24 online store, or you could set up a new payment system by adding the credentials into this payment list. And there are other features you can do here, so you maybe want to add coupons, so maybe your customers can take advantage of maybe an offer. When we're coming up to Black Friday, you could add a new voucher code. So if we go into here and create that new coupon code in the system, that could then be managed in your online store to allow customers to maybe have a discount on certain products while you have a certain promotional period. And once you've done this and you've set up your products in the system, so we've seen how we have our products in our online store here, what you can then do is once people are ready to purchase, so if we purchase some shoes for example, then that information could automatically feed back into your online store module as an order. So you can see here we have some stages and we can see the orders that are currently being processed in our online store. Now if you use the Bitrix24 CRM system, you'll see the functionality is very similar. So it's using stages and it's using the process to go through those stages to complete the order. So very similar to how you would manage leads and deals. So what you can do for ordering is you can set up your stages here. So we have order accepted, waiting for payment, and then we've created what we call a trigger. So once the payment has been processed, we automatically move that order to the paid preparing for shipment stage. So that automatically processes the order through the system for you. And so it may be, for example, what we could do here. So once we have made that and we are preparing the order, we've got a templated email set up here. So we're automatically then sending out a communication to the customer as we're going through that order process. So that's really useful. It allows you to really personalize the ordering process for your customers. And then we can see what step they're at in the system, and you can create filters if you wanted to maybe look at all of the completed orders. We could drill down into the system here to find that information. Okay, so that's a look there using some of the automation rules, and there are a selection of other automation rules that you can use as well as you're progressing through here. So maybe it could be notifications, it could be tasks for your actual employees as they're processing the orders, or you can set up different types of client communications directly inside the system. Okay, so there is a look at how you can use the online store to set up your store with different products that you want to sell to your customers. And with the automation rules, we can then process orders through specific bespoke stages that you are in control of. Okay, so question, is there a limit to the number of stages that I can set up in my online store? So within this section here, you can set up as many stages as you like inside the system. So if we wanted to maybe set up more stages inside here, here you can see you can add as many stages and steps into the ordering process as you require. Okay, if there are any further questions, please do add them into the chat box and we'll run through those for you before the end of today's webinar. Okay, so really the last step of the webinar today is to actually look at how this integrates with different areas of the system. And we have kind of talked about this already when we looked at some of the examples of the different types of landing pages that you can set up in Bitrix. So what we can do is we can integrate different types of communication channels onto your sites, and those can then integrate directly into your Bitrix system. So you can see here a selection such as live chats, we can set up inquiry forms. So let's just have a look at how we can create those in our Bitrix system. So what we want to do is we want to go into the CRM. And from here we want to go into the settings, and we can go to this area called website widgets. Okay, and within this section, this then allows us to create our own widgets that we can directly integrate onto our sites. So first of all, for example, you can set up a live chat system. So again, if I just show you here on this page, we have a live chat set up, So we can then send questions and instantly communicate through a live chat system to a member of our team within Bitrix24. So on here we can set up where the live chat system is going to be displayed. We can set up the colour, for example, so you can customize exactly how this looks on the system. We can change how quickly this shows, so if it's immediately when the customer comes to the page, or maybe you want to introduce a delay, and if it's available on mobile devices. So you can see the different settings here that you can set up. And that can then integrate directly with any site that you create in Bitrix. So we saw the option earlier on of how we can create a site in the system. And from there, what we can then do is what you want. If you have already set up your own website or landing page on a different solution, so maybe one that you already had before you came to Bitrix, you also get a widget code. So that allows you to automatically add that widget to your site. So you add that code onto the site, and that will then display your live chat on the system. We can also set up CRM Forms. So here in the form designer page, you can see the different fields we have on this particular form. And what you can do is you can send any field from your CRM system and apply this into the form. So for example, I might want to add the date of birth field. So I could easily add this into here. I could change the layout, so maybe I want to display this in a certain way. And that you can also have conditional fields. So maybe based on a selection of a field, it could then display another set criteria of fields based on that particular condition. Okay, so we can set this up, we can decide where this gets routed in the Bitrix system. You can change the CSS, so the style of the form. And again, if you don't have the site in Bitrix, then you have an embedding code. So you can automatically add this form onto your particular site that you have already created. Okay, so once you set those up, we can then automate activity in the system. So for example here, if somebody submits their details on this form, we're going to automatically create a brand new lead in the CRM system. So if we filled in the details on this particular form, that could then automatically create a brand new lead in the CRM. So we can see all of the leads that have come into the system here, so that could be really useful to help you try and start managing all of your inquiries. So we won't go into too much detail today in the CRM system because we do have a webinar coming up soon which focuses entirely on the CRM. But what you can do within the lead section here, once the lead comes in, say from that website form, we can set up automation. So the integration with the site allows the widgets that you have created to be embedded onto your sites. And then once that information from the form is integrated into the CRM, we could automatically create activities for your staff and also for communications with your customer. So for example, as soon as they come in then as a new lead, we could automatically send out a thank you email to them, and it's dynamically populated with their name and information. So again, you can now start to build a relationship with the customers, and it's all automated. There's no manual activity needed in here. They submit their details on the form, it comes into Bitrix, and we're automating communication with them in the system. And you could also trigger activities such as tasks for the responsible person. If they maybe click on a link on a certain email that you send them, then we could automatically update them. So maybe you send out a link in that thank you email, and if they click on that link, we could use a trigger and we could then automatically update them to the looking good stage in the system. So you can see here, just as a flavour, the different automations we can set up to try and help you streamline your lead and sales process, and really the overall aim of trying to close more business. Okay, so we just had another question coming there. So can I create different live chat widgets for each site with different people responsible for them? So yeah, absolutely you can. So you could create a site for every single, a widget for every single site, and you can then decide who is responsible for dealing with each, say, live chat, for example. So if we just go into our live chat system, we have a live chat set up here, and we can see who we have 4 people within our Bitrix system who can be responsible for dealing with those sites, those live chat requests directly inside the system here. So for every single live chat system you set up, you may have one for one website, and we have this group of people responsible for dealing with those live chats. And you could have another website set up and a brand new live chat set up, and that could then have different people responsible for dealing with those requests. So it does allow for full separation when you set up maybe multiple live chats in your system. Okay, and that's really useful because once you have integrated some of those channels such as live chats, then you also get statistics. So you can then start to analyze all of the data that's coming in from the sites that you have set up. So you can see the analysis on the amount of sessions that have taken place, maybe the different periods of activity. So you can see actually when maybe people are coming to the sites you have created and how busy you are on those sites at different time periods based on the live chat communications. And if you do use the leads, from the website forms, if they generate you leads in the system, we can then start to see analysis on how well those leads are converting into maybe closed business opportunities. So you then start to see lots of detailed analysis to help you really to close more business in the future, and we can see how well our different sources are doing. So you maybe have different website forms, you can then start to analyze those different sources in your Bitrix24 system. And really the other useful way is actually using the lead database that we just had a look at. So when you can see the leads that are coming in from your system, again, you have this dashboard which is fully customizable in how this looks and feels. You can change what data you want to display in the front end of this lead database. And you've got a filtering system, so you might want to filter on the different sources. So maybe actually we want to look at all of the leads that have come through from live chat, for example, rather than website forms. So you can now start to analyze this data, and all of this information in this list display you can export out of the system, maybe for further analysis. Okay, so that's a look there at some of the reporting channels that we can also use if we have integrated some of those widgets such as live chats and website forms onto the sites that we have created. Okay, so just another question coming here. How do I get a Google Analytics account? So we mentioned earlier on how you can integrate your Google Analytics with the sites that you create in the sites module. So I think the question there is, how do you create a Google Analytics account? Well, you just need to sign up for one through Google Analytics. So it is free to set an account up, and you can then get your code and connect that with the sites module that you create within Bitrix24. Okay, so in summary today in the Sell More with Sites webinar, we've had a look at how we can create our own sites and landing pages in the Bitrix24 system. And I think really the crucial thing to mention here is just how simple it is. It uses drag and drop technology and blocks, so there is no coding skills required, and I hope you've been able to see that today, and it has come across to you just how simple it is to set up your sites in Bitrix. And you can build great looking designs, so you've got lots of templates you can use, and I think really importantly, especially right now coming up to the seasonal Black Friday and Christmas, there's lots of seasonal templates that you can use to help inspire you to create good looking sites. And we'll see how it integrates with different areas of Bitrix24, and I think that's really crucial to really get the most out of the sites module. You want to connect some of those live chat systems, the website forms onto your sites, and that then fully integrates it with the CRM module, and you can then start using some of the automation rules in the CRM to progress those inquiries and help you close more business. So it really becomes a fully integratable product, which then helps improve conversion rates and hopefully gets you more customer loyalty over the long term. Okay, so thank you for your time today. Here are a selection of the up and coming webinars we have. We're here at 11 AM Eastern Time every Tuesday. If in the meantime If you do have any questions, that's all that you think you need help with, please do email sales@intraface.com and we'll set up a meeting with you to discuss your questions. Hopefully you're able to join next week for our next webinar, and I look forward to seeing you then. Thanks for your time today. Bye for now.